Someone here. Ah, yes. Looks to do it's begun. And we have someone reading questions off the chat, right? Yeah?
Yep.
Epic.
And I'll open up panel room 1 text, so we'll be following the Discord and the Twitch. Hello, everyone. We're back only a few minutes late. With another
Yeah, y'all were
cosplay
enjoying the
Q&A.
convention. I'll forgive you. There's plenty of fun stuff going on, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
We're here with another cosplay Q&A with Keaton from Fire Emblem Fates. So we'll be starting off with in-character questions for like 20-ish minutes, and then we'll do out-of-character questions after that. So if we want to start with any in-character questions.
Yeah, that would be fabulous, I think. For anyone who's not familiar, my name's Keaton. You may have read in that introduction Lightning put in there, huh? Lightning, if you're out here watching this, you're pretty okay. That little panel description you wrote, that was pretty cool. That was pretty helpful. But yeah, I'm a wolfskin. I like hunting for treasure, and I like hunting for meat. Hunting anything is kind of great. But yeah, I'm here and available, so if y'all have things you want to know about me or about my kind, I guess I could share some stuff with you. I could educate you a little bit. Sounds like a productive use of my time.
Well, we just have legalize Awu put in chat.
Legalize Awu. So yeah, so this was a little while ago, so I don't know how many of y'all remember when there was a thing going around the castle, right? I can't remember who started it. It might have been Corin. But right after I first joined the army, there was this motion put in where I think they originally said it as a joke, but then it turned serious. It was like, don't Awu 350 gold fine or something like that. And obviously that's a little bit of an issue for me. As a wolfskin, I'm very it's very important to me that I'm able to communicate by howling. Although I can kind of see like if you're trying not to wake people up when they're sleeping or something, like I think we could establish like rules about when howling is okay and under what circumstances, but I do need to be able to stay true to my character and howl when I want to express myself, among other things. So that was how I ended up with this fabulous board here. I'm very passionate about legalizing Awu.
So I guess my first question would be, what have you actually been up to lately? In your day-to-day?
Been up to a few things. Let me see. I've been doing a lot of treasure hunting. Sometimes I get other people involved in the treasure hunting too, which is, kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes they have good taste and sometimes they don't. It was really interesting to see Camilla's reaction recently. Okay, so what happened was I went out on a hike and I found this really cool treasure spot, And the kind of treasure that was there was something I'd never seen before. So it was like this hole in the ground. But it was more like a cave, right? Which made it even better. And it was full of these bones. And they were like totally picked clean. So we thought maybe they might have like some kind of ceremonial significance or whatever. But I was just out there frolicking in all of these bones. And it was the best time. Like I was just sitting there thinking like, I wish I could bring this quantity of bones back to the castle, which would take a really long time and wouldn't be super practical, but then I'd have like my own bone hole in the castle, which would be great. But I ended up taking Camilla along, and thankfully she enjoyed it. She has good taste. That pleases me when other people can see the value of my treasures. That would probably be the most notable thing that's happened recently.
There is some excitement about said bone hole in the chat.
Oh, I'm so glad other people also appreciate the bone hole. I knew y'all at EmblemCon were good. We had good taste. Oh, I can count on you guys for enjoying what's important.
Kind of in like a similar notion, Fizzing Phantoms asks what the best thing is to hunt.
Well, let me see. I think personally, there are. I like hunting all things. That's my cop out answer, right? But since you asked such a specific question, I'll give a specific answer. I think deer are probably my favorite thing to hunt because they're not like the biggest thing out there that you can catch. They're not. It doesn't take like too much specific tactics to catch them. Sometimes if you can just team up with like one other person in the army, like Mosley's been really good at helping me catch some deer, I guess. Um, but it's relatively simple to get a team together and go out and catch a deer, right? You don't need to strategize like a whole attack plan necessarily. You just go out and catch it. But you still get a lot of meat out of it. You can feed multiple people for days with a single deer, right? And so I would, and like rabbits are okay too. They're like not too hard to catch, but you don't get too much meat out of
You
it.
get
And sometimes you
small.
gotta like wait outside the hole for them to come out. So it's not as much my favorite. Yeah, I'd say deer.
Very practical. Very practical. And Popcorn Scavenger, which is a very relevant name, I think, to the question. Do you have any favorite treasures that you've collected from around the castle?
Oh, favorite treasures. Okay, y'all are asking me the difficult questions, but I did say you can ask me questions, so that's kind of on me. Let me see what I got around here. Oh, here's one I just found recently. So this is a recently dead rat, but it's just recently enough dead that it just turned stiff. It's like it's not still pliable, but it still smells really good. Um, but it's also like it hasn't really started rotting yet, so you can still tell that it's a rat. Yeah, and it has like it even has like a little bit of dirt on it sometimes. Like it's just started rotting on the face there. So this is probably my new favorite recent treasure. Oh, but I have actually another one here. So if you want something that smells good, this rat is probably the best thing I've got for you. But all different treasures have different values, right? Not all of them smell great, but they'll have other great things about them. So this rock I found recently, it has a print of a dead fish in it. So rocks don't smell like a whole lot. They'll smell like the earth sometimes, but it's just a picture of a fish. But here's the thing. The image of the fish is so detailed that when you look at it, you can see all the little individual bones that were imprinted into this rock. So you can think about how delicious this fish would be if you put it in your mouth and how it would smell. So there's a lot of power in this little rock here. I would say that's another one of my favorite treasures. Thinking about eating fish is maybe hungry. So I have even more treasures in here. Actually, let me
There is a
see what
large
I've.
fish right behind you.
Yes, there is. There's my. This guy's been here for a while. I don't think I could eat this one. It does smell really good though. Um, I don't keep anything that rotten to eat, but I do. I should have some. I should have some stuff that's good to eat right in here. There's. Okay, so I got some treasures in here. Is this still good? Okay, it's not that rotten. Okay, yeah, this should be fine then. Got some. Got some jerky here. The other members of the army tell me it tastes like a little gamey, but they're lost. Yeah, food is a good treasure too. How did this get in here?
Oh.
It looks like a lot of beads. I must have picked these up at some point. Strangely, I don't remember picking this up. But there's some in here that are kind of rusted. Some that are a little crusty. I'll have to sort through those later. Pick out the best ones. So yeah,
Oh.
that's the review of my recent treasures.
I
I trust everyone at EmblemCon
think
has enjoyed the
everyone was
review.
just
I
enamored.
know you all have good taste, so.
We have a very different kind of question. Who are your
Oh.
best friends in the army?
Oh, best friends. Oh. Well, oh man. I like to think that everyone's my friend, even if like they don't not all of them enjoy my treasures quite as much as I do, but I can get along with them, I suppose. I like to be able to work in a team with everybody. For Wolfskin, it's important to be able to mesh with your pack and interact socially and get along and help each other out. Um, that Arthur guy isn't half bad. Like it took him a bit to come around to appreciate my treasures, but he did, which I commend him for. Not everyone is as open minded as Arthur is. And he has found me some really great treasures too recently. He found me like this giant bug, and he originally picked it up, and he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know if this is a good treasure," and then I looked at it and like, "No, this is the best treasure ever." So he's getting better at finding treasures too. That's good. That makes it very good for me to hang around him. Mm, Oh, you know what? Laszlo's also not half bad. He took me out to try chatting up some girls recently. I don't
Oh.
know. I showed him some of my treasures, and I figured he could return the favor by taking me out and showing me what's important to him. And well, it went like okay, I guess. They weren't all that interested in my treasures, so I tried it. Whatever. Um, but we ended up playing a little game together where he was throwing this pot lid I found, and I caught it, and it was fun. It was good training. So yeah.
On a, I guess, also related to your friends and, well, not friends so much. So, Popcorn Scammer asks how Valoria has been lately.
Oh, that little rascal. She would not let go of my tail yesterday. Which was it's so parent things. Like, oh man. I love having a little rascal running around, but it gets to be so much sometimes. But I took a look at it recently, and because she was clinging to my tail so hard, she actually tore a little bit of the fur out, which not super pleasant experience in the moment, but now it looks kind of raggedy and all tough and everything, which is exactly how I like it. So shout out to Valuria for accomplishing that. She's going places, that girl, I tell you. I think she's doing pretty good. She's a great asset to our family.
Asset to the family.
I
the
mean, can you blame me? She's adorable. She's great at fighting, and she made my tail look great.
the immediate forgiving. Uh, I think relating to all of the treasure talk, Fizzing Phantom asks, Corin doesn't let you near Lilith, do they?
Corn doesn't let me near Lilith.
With
I
all of the
bet she
fish
has a lot of
talk,
treasures in there that I could go investigate, but yeah, I'd be tempted to like chew on her a little bit. Probably
just a
better if I don't
little.
go in there. I know my limits, right?
Just a little bit of chewing on Lilith as a treat.
Mm. Oh, that would be fabulous. But I'll restrain myself for the time being. I'll have to talk to Corn about that later.
Try and convince them.
You just nibble on the tail a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have to be Lilith herself. Maybe she has some. Maybe she has some jerky she can let me chew on. I don't know. Lilith maybe makes her own jerky. I don't know a whole lot about Lilith, but I can figure it out.
Phoenix says there's not enough to hurt, just enough to get the fishy flavor. Exactly.
You know me and the fishy flavor. Oh, it's a good flavor.
You get it. Do we have any more questions? I think that was me caught up with them so far. So do we have
All right, EmblemCon, got any more questions for me? I got more stuff to share. So if you're out there, you can ask me stuff. You can ask about Wolfskin. I can tell you all about what being a Wolfskin is like. We're a pretty solid bunch. Like I said, we got our family values. We got to look out for each other.
Oh, we've got
You got a question? Fabulous.
who's Valoria's mom, or I'm gonna say other parent potentially.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Who's Valoria's mother? Or other parent, or whatever.
Other parent. Oh, I didn't tell you about Azra. Oh, she's fabulous. She's a great singer. Our relationship is an interesting story, because I was trying to help her figure out how to express her emotions a little bit more. And so I originally was like, okay, I'm gonna make her angry. So I told her she was a horrible singer because I figured that would get her, and it like kind of worked. Like she still looked at me like no reaction, but it made her mad. And then I told her later, like she thought it was serious, right? I was just telling her that to get a reaction out of her. And she came back later, and I was like, I was joking, right? And she said, no, I didn't. And but I was like, but everyone knows you're a good. So she started laughing, like she was laughing her head off. I've never seen Azura so much as smile before, so like this was a new experience. And but I'm like, okay, well now I got to make her laugh every day, and it kind of became my life mission.
Aww.
Everyone say, "Ah, I know, I'm good dad."
Very adorable. Um, and that's what the chat is saying as well. Sakura
Oh,
Amphi
good.
asks what your opinion on Caden is.
Caden's not half bad, he his tastes are very different from mine, but no, I think I can be open minded in that regard. Um, but he's very respectful about it, so I'll give him that. He's fun to go on hikes with when he's not like trying to backseat give me too many directions, but you know, he's a decent dude.
Mm-hmm.
I can get behind someone else who knows how to take care of their tail, even if he doesn't take care of it in the same way I do.
Palme asks, how would you appreciate cheese?
Cheese. Well, depends on what
Cheese.
kind of cheese. It's okay. So I haven't gotten a chance to eat cheese yet, but I've smelled a lot of different kinds of cheese in the dining hall, right? And there's some that smell a lot like mold, like the mold that's on my treasures. And I think I would love to try those first, because if they smell that pungent, they've got to taste really good too, right? If any of y'all have some cheese, let me add it after this. I'd love to do some, taste testing. See how
Research.
it is, and I'll let you know.
Okay, we probably have. I know that we're like nearly 20 minutes in. Do we have any more questions for Keaton, gang?
Do you all want to hear about the wolf skin and
I was
how
I
I
was
kill
gonna I
everybody?
was actually thinking about asking about the wolf skin. What is it like being a wolf skin?
Oh, I was gonna ask if you want to hear about how I kill everyone who tries to poach my family,
Oh,
and so my
go
mountain home is all
off.
littered with bones.
Go off,
Yeah,
King.
so don't mess with us. Don't come try to kill my pack because I will kill you. And I'm very that's the thing I'm very good at. As long as you're friends with us, I would say you're not in any danger. If we've got your back, you're good, right? I can protect you all, but as soon as you're my enemy, you better watch out. Because I'm very experienced. Like anyone who intrudes on our territory, anyone who's after our pelts.
Mm-hmm.
And my home in the mountains is pretty great too. Oh, I like going on hikes and thinking about it. Hoping after the war I can get back there and just like, oh, chance to properly appreciate it again.
Are there any specific wolfskin traditions that you would like us to know about? And similarly,
When
we've got a question about like holidays or festivals. Are there any like traditions or holidays or festivals?
there is actually when we get a very important new life development as defined by the individual. Sometimes it's when someone gets married or something. But whenever something really exciting and momentous happens, we have a midnight howl where we all go out to the top of the tallest hill we can find, the closest one, and we have to when we're feeling inspired, we all got to get together, and then when it's the darkest at night it will get, we all howl together, and it's so fulfilling. It's such a great form of expression. This is why I'm okay. So this is why I'm so passionate about legalize Awu, right? Okay, so we don't have to have midnight howls all the time, but we gotta have them sometimes. It's a wolfskin tradition, and if Awu is not legalized, we can't have our midnight howls. So now every once in a while, even if everyone else is asleep, midnight howl, very important.
Understandable, I think. Oh, there are a lot of Awoos in chat as well.
Oh,
They're joining in with you.
thank you, EmblemCon.
Popcorn Scavenger mentioning a person from a faraway land and time called Pandreo who would probably like to awoo alongside you. He's not a wolf skin, he's just a regular human, but that sounds like his kind of fun as well.
Well, I can get behind that. Shout out to Pandreo out there, wherever you are. Come awoo with us.
So you're happy for humans to join in as well?
Yeah, we gotta share our traditions. That's how we keep them alive, right? As long as you're respectful about it. Come awoo with us.
Chantaro asks, what are your pastimes when you're not hunting game or treasures in your pack? Or safeguarding your territory? Do you have any pastimes outside of those kind of things?
I like training to keep my claws sharp. You know, gotta be able to protect my pack. I train with a couple different members of the army. They all have their individual strategies. It's nice to be able to find things to adapt to, make sure I'm always ready for the next situation. I don't have to train like too much. I gotta balance it out with my rest, you know, to keep myself in top condition. But when the army's attacked, I gotta be ready.
That makes a lot of sense. I'd say maybe. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I actually meant to ask this as well, Phoenix. Phoenix asks, we've asked about Valoria, but how is Shigure doing then?
Oh, what a fabulous little kid! You know, I haven't seen him recently. He's been out working on his artistic pursuits, and he's been coming back kind of home late at night. I would assume he's going up for long walks in the woods. That's the kind of thing that he usually does. You know, sometimes he goes out and he finds a quiet spot to sketch or sing or whatever. I might actually have to go talk to him about this and make sure he's doing okay, because it's been a little bit, and he hasn't talked to me a whole lot recently. I don't think he's mad, because he's not the kind of person to get mad. But I should after we're done here, I'll go check in on him, see what he's up to.
Oh, were you born knowing how humans talk and speak, or was it something that you learned? Like, were you raised speaking the same language as the humans, or was it something you learned later?
Yeah, well, here's the nice thing is the wolfskin, because okay, so we shapeshift, right? So our language is actually pretty similar to human language. There's not a whole lot of things we have to pick up aside on the side from that, right? So we have our own bits of our language that are our wolfskin language, like oh, right? That's the thing that like humans can understand, even if like wolfskin have like different ways of howling. It means different things to us when we listen to it. We can tell like okay, so that person's like advertising their territory, or they're telling someone to stay away, right? But it's kind of goes the other way with human language too, right? So I grew up knowing like some human language, and there's definitely some like nuance and stuff I picked up on since I joined the army, which is always an interesting experience. I gotta say, like I'm learning like new words like independent. I learned what that meant recently from Minka. Yeah, so I guess the answer would be like kind of in the middle, but more like yeah, I picked it up more or less naturally.
Fair enough. With that, do we have any last minute questions before we maybe move on to questioning someone else here? Because we do already have someone asking with an ask of a character question, but do we have any last minute questions for Keaton specifically?
Yeah. Any other in-character questions? Any out-of-character questions? We can just about open it up for both of them if you want.
Yeah, I think we're probably moving on to out-of-character questions then.
Fabulous.
Pamela asks if you've ever played Wolf Quest.
Oh my gosh, you just threw me back to high school or something. Was it high school when that? How long ago was that? I played the heck out of that game when I think it was high school. Like I played that until the servers went down, you know, because for a while it was like an educational project that they funded for like educational reasons, right? They were like, oh, the whole mission was this is going to be an educational video game. And they funded it for a while, but they only got out a couple chapters, and they had like a multiplayer version for a while, but I think for some reason like they eventually lost funding for it. And then they had to like take the multiplayer servers down. Eventually, they stopped developing the whole game from the beginning. But yeah, that was like one of the things I did when however long ago that was up. Totally.
Mhm. I just want to say I love all the props you brought, by the way. Like,
Yeah, I had a fun time with this setup. So for my panel, I was at EmblemCon last year too as a panelist, and I did Keaton, and I was in a different living situation, so I did a slightly different setup. But it's like this is my second time doing like a setup in this particular location, and it's kind of fun. Like, okay, so as a cosplayer, I have like some fabrics laying around. Like, okay, how do I want to set up the space, and like, okay, what kind of props would I have laying around? Like Caden's space would be very orderly and nice looking because like he's all about keeping himself nice looking, right? Like, okay, Keaton is gonna be organized chaos, right? The legal eyes always fine, definitely. I got the shelf to work out, but like, okay, we got to match the color scheme here. I got to find out like what random stuff I have around that might look like one of my treasures, like this random fish pillow. And I'm like, honestly, I'm kind of happy. Like as a creative pursuit, like the kind of backdrop setup for cosplay is kind of fun, like an individual like expression thing. I'm everyone praise my setup. I'm happy with how it turned out. I threw it together this morning before my panel. I'm like, this is actually kind of cool. I like this.
No, we like occasionally like blab about stuff in like our mod chats, and we immediately had like, oh my god, I love the props. We were all saying, and also the kind of fun of someone in the background just half listening and then only catching parts of what Keaton was saying and being like, what the hell? It's very...
right.
No, you're like incredible in character, like really, really fun.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed. I gotta shout out my friend. Their name is Fall. They also do like some theater and character stuff. They're mostly a musician too, and they helped me rehearse for this panel. We did like a little in character Q&A kind of like this, just between the two of us, and so helpful. Like, so shout out to them for helping me with my preparation and rehearsal, being able to like address my character a little bit, see how I wanted to portray. That was I've already told them. So if you're watching this Fall, I'm telling you again. That was, well, chef's kiss.
We've got a question saying, how did you come up with the Keaton headcanons that you did?
Oh, just now? I came up with them on the spot.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's more the improv, right? Like I did some theater background, but like I've been getting a little bit more back into improv recently. I've been getting like, okay, so when I was like in high school and stuff, I did like role playing like all the time, and I kind of fell out of it like end of high school, college. But I've been getting back into it recently, more like role playing in OCs and stuff, and it's been kind of fun, like getting back like into the improv brain. Like, okay, I got to come up with a situation for this character, and like sometimes coming up with like random stuff off the top of my head, like, okay, how would this work? Like if character meets this scenario, how would this scenario be resolved? And even if it's like a ridiculous thing that you just come up with, like, okay, if you can just like commit to the decision and justify it, it'll be convincing, right? It's been kind of fun getting back into the little improv thing.
No, it like really shows in like.
Oh, thank you.
And Phoenix actually asks, is Keaton and Zura actually your favorite pairing, or was that just for the Q&A?
No, that's just like the first one I thought of when you asked me that question. I was just reviewing the support conversations before my panel, and I was like, okay, when you asked me like, okay, which S support was my favorite, and that was just, so I just went with that one. And then I remember when you brought the question about Shigude too, I was like, oh yes, now I get to talk about Shigude, because Shigude is actually my favorite character from Fates out of all of them. I completely spaced the moment. I forgot that would then be an implication of that question. But yes, okay, more improv.
Good excuse to bring up Shigude.
Yes, please let me talk about my husbando.
Yeah, and Phoenix in chat says they never would have guessed that you didn't plan like all of the specific details ahead of time.
No. Basically none of, a couple, like I did the prep with my friend, like they would come up with a few questions and ask me, and like a couple of them like have asked about like the favorite treasures and like what have you been doing with the army, is like those are questions like I thought about ahead of time, because they're like, okay, those are reasonable things to ask Keaton that'll probably come up. I should have at least a couple of answers prepared for this, right? Everything else was like, yeah, like improv. Like it was funny because last year when I did Keaton, Spall also let me rehearse for that, and they came up with a few questions, and a couple of the questions they came up with are actually exactly what the chat ended up asking me,
Mhm.
so I had like an answer already. But in this case, like the questions my friend came up with were completely different from what you all asked me. So like I was preparing, like I had like some answers, but then like the different answers prepared for these ones, and it was an interesting experience. Like okay, now I prepared some answers, but now I gotta pick a completely different answer, right?
On a similar kind of thing, Visiting Phantoms asks, they say that they're like awful at thinking on the spot. Do you have any tips that could help thinking on the spot when in cosplay?
Oh yeah, okay. So let me think. I think my biggest tip is like the one I mentioned already. Like it doesn't have to be. I kind of touched on this. I didn't explain it exactly, but so when you're thinking of scenarios or responses for your character, like if someone asks your character a question and you have to think about how your character would answer. So of course you want to like study your character ahead of time if you can, like think about their thought process and how they would answer. But like in the moment, the answer you picked to that question, it doesn't have to be like 100% correct or canon, or like it doesn't have to be like a thing where if someone like went back to Fire Emblem Fates and played through all the dialogue, like is there evidence for how Keaton would answer this question? It doesn't have to be like 100% true to canon, right? You just have to commit to the answer and it'll
Mhm.
be convincing. Like so like if you like I don't know what a good example would be like if you like believe in your heart that that's what the character would respond, like even if like you're making stuff up out of your head that like that would justify it, basically like make it like an in-universe thing, like even if it's not accurate, if you're like convincing enough, like the audience will believe it.
That's the
Like you just
case of a lot of areas in life, I think.
yeah.
People will, the moment you're like passionate and like confident with it, people will generally just go along regardless of.
No, yeah. And I think the other thing is like with improv specifically, also it's like the idea is that like you don't want to say no to a thing, like you don't want to like completely shut down an idea. So like if you
Yeah.
get an idea, like it doesn't you don't for one thing you don't have to pick the first idea you get. But when you do get an idea, you can be like, okay, well, what can I do with this idea? You don't have to like completely reject it, but like it's okay if it's like a cringe idea, right? Cringe is dead. Like don't worry about the cringe. Improv is supposed to be fun, right? Like even if it's like not like an idea that makes sense, or like if it doesn't like fit with the world necessarily, like okay, but like okay, if this was the scenario, like how would that play out? Like if I have my character and I'm like, okay, well now like I was doing a character scenario a little bit ago where like I have two characters talking, like okay, well one character gets a migraine because I sometimes get migraines and it makes it so like I can't do anything. It was going to be like an angst scenario, like okay, now this character's sick and now the other character has to take care of him, right? But then I was like, okay, well now the other character is gonna like bridal carry the character back to their house. I'm like, okay, so that's interesting choice, but since my brain picked it, I'm gonna go along with it. Like just like even though like those random, you can entertain like the most random ideas. It doesn't have to be like an idea that makes sense because it's improv, right? It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be hilarious. Like don't worry too much about like if it's accurate or if it makes sense. Just go along with it. Have fun with it. You can come up with the most random stuff to justify it as long as you're committed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my spiel, I guess.
So there's a lengthy comment here by Phoenix, which is just a very nice comment, basically, saying that they really appreciate your skills uh at like how smoothly you're able to get across the point of like Keaton doesn't know about this specific thing, or like we're not covering this kind of thing, how you did that like so smoothly in character, which is kind of what you just said now, of like sort of not shutting down something completely but seeing where you can do it with that.
Yeah,
Phoenix
exactly. Thank you,
specifically
Phoenix. I
praised how
appreciate
like
it.
smoothly you did
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, if you like you said, if Keaton doesn't know something, if I just say, oh, I don't know, well
Yeah.
then that's the end of the conversation, right? It's kind of boring. But if I find something else for Keaton to comment on, like, oh yeah, maybe I don't know what that is, but like what aspect of this question would Keaton comment on that could like
Mhm.
take the prompt like one step further, right? That's improv.
I like that this is an acting panel pretty much.
It is now, yeah. I mean, out of character questions, right?
uh and Fizzing Phantom, the person that asked about the thinking on the spot, said that it was very informative and
Oh, good.
thanked you
Thank
for
you.
it.
I'm glad. I will probably have like other stuff in my brain later that I could probably articulate and explain better, but that's just like the first thing I came up with. So
The
maybe I'll
confidence
like,
again.
yeah,
You
or
just
something.
say it confidently in the moment.
Study your character, love your character, commit.
So, have you been cosplaying? Because you mentioned like role playing as like a kid online, which I can relate to. Is that like how what led you to cosplaying in the first place? Sort of like a continuation of that, or were they sort of like all sort of the same thing at once, basically?
I think for me they were connected but separate. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because like there's definitely like, because I definitely bring like my role playing experience into like my acting background.
Yeah.
At least like like I learn them separate. Like they're different skill sets that I learned at separate times. Like I like between the ages of like 10, 15, I go on forums and role play like all day after school.
Yeah.
And then like in high school I did my theater experience, which was like unrelated, but like as I'm getting back into doing like character stuff, I'm like, oh, they're actually connected because they both like improv kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh so like even though like I pick them up like separately as different skill sets, it's been kind of fun like seeing how they intersect. And like for
Mm-hmm.
cosplay specifically, it's like I like even though like I started cosplaying like completely separate from like doing role playing and stuff because like I would like see videos of people at conventions or like see a character. I'm like, I want to be that character. And it's like a little bit separate, but like I'm definitely like drawing from my background, like, okay, thinking about my character, thinking about how I would perform my character, express my character. I use that in cosplay a lot, especially because like with cosplay, because like so much of my cosplay life is centered around like performance. So
Yeah.
like that's the thing I constantly have in my head is like, okay, how am I going to portray my character?
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. So is
No,
there
you're cool.
is there often a difference between like purely a character who's your favorite and a character who is fun to play as, or like fun
Yes,
to
that's a
cosplay
great
as?
question. I get that question a lot actually. I've had that question actually a lot recently for some reason because like one of my favorite characters from a different media. I don't know how all of you play Honkai Star Rail.
I'm sure a
But my
lot of
favorite
them
character,
do. People have
yeah,
been
I'll be out
mentioning
there, shout
Hoyoverse
out.
this whole
You know
con.
where my brain rot is.
I was gonna
But
say
yeah, I
I
get a lot
don't,
of
but
people
everyone else does.
yeah, but like I get a lot of people asking me like my favorite character from that game. It's like, oh, people like, wow, I'm just like, cause I have like all my cosplays for the other characters from that game I want to cosplay. And they're like, oh, well, you should cosplay this, like, because I'm like the Don Hung feature, right? If you know me for 5 seconds, you know I love Don Hung. And everyone's like, wow, I'm surprised you're not going to cosplay Don Hung. And I'm like, yeah, well, here's the thing, I love Don Hung, but the thing about like being a character and like being like attracted to a character basically are like separate things for me. And
Yeah.
for like I recently like learned like the thing about he's like the character from Star Wars, like he's like cool and he's like reliable and like but being him for like performing as him would be a really interesting experience because he's kind of an introvert and he like keeps to himself. So like in
Mm-hmm.
an improv situation that might be kind of challenging. Like it can be done definitely. Just like there's different like strategies for like how you would express that character that doesn't involve them like shying away from interaction opportunities because that's kind of what he does. He stays in his room. He doesn't want to talk to people. He just wants to be on his computer or whatever as like a oversimplification of his character. But like for characters I want to be like, I like performing characters like Keaton. Keaton's a good example where they just have like something about like that they're really expressive or passionate about, or like a really like something they're real that's like really characteristic about them. Like for Evie who have played I'm actually learning recently I like playing like charismatic villains a lot for some reason just because like
It
they're really
sounds
mischievous.
fun. Like,
And yeah, like they don't care about what other people think of them. They're just doing like their thing. They want to show off. They want to show how cool they are. Like for any of you all who've played Fire Emblem Engage, I'm thinking
oh,
about cosplaying Gris soon
oh
because like
yeah,
Gris, yeah, where are my
yeah.
Gris fans out there? Yeah, because well, yeah, for charismatic villain, like he's like a character you look at like, oh yeah, I know who that character is because he's like he has like that strong personality. Like, okay, he's a sadomasochist. He's like, okay, I'm gonna make you hurt as much as I can. But also, he's like, he has like this. If you play through the game and watch, like he has like this really distinctive way of carrying himself and moving, and also like of talking. And I just think like that's such a fun way to express a character, and like that's like something I like investigating as as a cosplayer. It's like that's an example of like how like character I want to be versus character I like. Like that's like a dichotomy there. You have
Mm-hmm.
like introvert character who doesn't interact a whole lot versus here's a character who's going to show off every possible way he can. He's going to be kind of creepy about it.
I very much understand where you're coming from with that. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Also, Gris would be very fun.
Yeah, so I'm so excited.
Gris at
He's on my
EmblemCon
list. I don't know when I'll get to
2026.
him, but I really want to.
uh oh, apparently the engaged chat in the server has been talking about Gris the whole con. That's
Yeah,
fun.
I was in there for a little bit. Yeah, we called it grist course.
Oh my gosh.
That was fun. I'm glad there's other grist enjoyers out there. It's kind of funny because like villain characters like I'm a little bit scared of you, but also I'm intrigued.
Do we have any more questions, guys? I know we've technically gone over, but like we have
Yeah,
until the
let's
next. We have until either
have until the
whenever
next panel.
you Puffin has to leave, or the next panel is in 15 minutes. So if we have any more questions,
Yeah, about cosplay, about me, about Fire Emblem, my thoughts on Fire Emblem.
what's your
Room
favorite Fire
is
Emblem
open.
game?
Oh, okay. So, okay. I think I like both Fates and Engage. I think Engage is gonna have. Ooh, I love Fates and I think probably Engage. Oh, it's like I like picking between those two is so hard for me. I like them both because they're really colorful, and I like colorful things. It's like a very simple reason, but that's why I like them. I liked Engage. I liked being able to support anybody regardless of gender. I think it wins
Yes.
out just to that
Yeah.
point. That was so. I'm so glad they finally made that a thing, even if
It's
they're
been a
not like
long
all
time
explicitly
coming.
romantic supports. I'm just like I think that one thing puts Engage above Fates for me. Other than that, I love them both equally. They're so fun. They're so colorful. They make me feel all kinds of feelings I didn't even know I could feel.
No, that is so so real for you. I think I agree completely. Especially since like you sound like you probably played Fates when it was like quite new. I would have
Pretty
thought.
new, yeah. So I got into Fire Emblem with Fates.
Yeah.
And what how I cosplaying Keaton is actually kind of special for me. One, because I've been cosplaying him so long. I think he was actually like one of the first Fates Fire Emblem characters I cosplayed because I started playing Fates in 2017, so 8 years ago now. Because I was at a convention earlier in the year with my friend, and I saw these other cosplayers, and it was a group of four, right? And I was like, wow, they're so cute. They have like animal ears, animal tails. And I was like, I need to know what game they're thing they're from, because if it's an anime, I want to watch it. If it's a game, I want to play it. And my friend who was with me at the time was like, oh yeah, that's Fire Emblem Fates, because it was a group of like Keaton, Caden, and Valuria, and what's Caden's daughter? I forget her name.
Oh god.
Selkie. Selkie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a group of all four, and like, okay, so that got me into Fire Emblem because like, oh, I need to know who these characters are, right? And so I got Fates that year for my birthday, and then I played Awakening. Awakening is like, it's not my favorite game, but it's good. It was a good experience. So yeah, that was like 8 years ago. I got Fates, I got Awakening, I got Three
Yeah.
Houses, I got Engaged.
Because you made it sound like you probably had like played them for a while, and like back when I'm sure the people here who played, because I got into theories right before Fates was announced, kind of. So like all of that was like coming out then, and everyone was screaming like, when can we get gay relationships? And then Fates had, obviously the two options, and then
Not many people got like two.
and then and then Three Houses gave us like a handful more, and everyone was like, well, why can't we just romance everyone regardless of gender? And I
then
genuinely, I never thought they would do it. I genuinely never thought they would actually go that far. So then Engage, so like yeah, Engage is like really special to me for the same reason of like, oh, they actually went there. Okay.
Shout out.
One of like the only, I would say, like Japanese games that actually does that as well, which is very special. sorry, Marion Chow saying the other animal in quotes. Yeah.
What was in quotes?
The other animal, I think in reference to Caden.
Oh yeah, the other animal. I love Keaton and Caden. Keaton's special to me just because I played Conquest first.
Yeah.
And
based.
like I said, he was the character that got me into Fire Emblem. But Caden's also great. Caden's obviously I cosplayed him last year. I love Caden too.
Mm-hmm.
I love our fluffy animals. It's interesting, like being Caden last year and then being Keaton this year, because like I feel like for me, being Caden was like so much easier. I don't know if it's just a personality thing, but like for some reason with Keaton, like when I was studying my character, I had a lot of like I struggled a lot coming like, oh, how would like it didn't feel like quite as natural to me, like getting into Keaton's character. But yeah, I love them both.
Based on how everyone has been saying you've been acting, I don't think that's obvious.
Thank you. Yeah,
you've been absolute natural.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, people in chat are talking about like any future cosplay panels that you might ever do.
Future cosplay panels. Ooh, I want to do more in-character panels for sure. I love doing in-character panels. Aside from EmblemCon, I haven't gotten to do a lot of them like recently, like in-person events. Those are really the big ones. I've considered doing like because when I do cosplay performance, I do a lot of dance, and I've considered doing like dance panels. I've done a couple of them back when I went to furry cons. I did like furry dance tutorial kind of things for panels, and I was thinking of I was like entertaining the idea of bringing them back for cosplay too, but I haven't really had like the opportunity to do that yet. So probably like mostly in character stuff. Like obviously, I'd love to do more Fire Emblem stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if that's in the cards for the future. I was entertaining the idea of doing one for Shigure, like in
I
character
was
Q and
just
A.
thinking Shiguro.
Yeah, so I have his
I
wig, right?
think
Because
it
I've wanted to
does.
cosplay him forever, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I've had the wig for like years, and I thought Shigure. So it would be an interesting character to do that would be a little different from Keaton, right? Because like Keaton has all these. I studied a lot of support conversations for figuring out what I want to do for my character, right? And Keaton has all these supports with all the other members of the army, but Shigure just has supports like with the kids, right? Like he has supports with his
Mm-hmm.
parents and supports with the other children, but he doesn't like having supports with the other adult characters. So one thing I thought would be like fun for his character, like okay, like again, improv, like if he did have support conversations with the adults, like how would
Mm-hmm.
he interact with the other adult characters that he doesn't have in-game supports for? And I was like, oh, that would be a really fun, interesting concept to like explore, right? Like as an expression of like expressing your character in cosplay is like exploring like these opportunities that didn't necessarily get addressed in game and being like, okay, so now I can come up with my I guess headcanons for how this would go, and then I would have to them via my performance, right? It's like, oh, I kind of want to try that now. I would
Mm-hmm.
probably want to make his cosplay first, but it's been on my list for so long. Maybe someday.
So do you make all the outfits yourself as well?
Sometimes it depends.
Mm-hmm.
I like making my own outfits. For Fire Emblem, it's kind of a 50-50. I like some of the Fire Emblem outfits like this one I like a lot because like they're just stuff I can get in my closet or from a thrift store or whatever, which makes it really easy to like put the outfit together. And then like for a more individual or complicated costume like Shigure, I like making them myself because I like personalizing them a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
putting them together, combining different aspects of my in case of Fire Emblem characters, like they'll have slightly different designs and slightly different games, and I can like, oh, I like the vest in that game, but I like how the cape looks in this game, and I can put them together and make my own design. And so if it's a character like where I have the opportunity to just get normal clothes to wear as them, I definitely will take that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but like if it's a character like where I have to assemble the cosplay myself, I can totally do that. It's just a matter of like putting in the time and the work to do it. So I always have like this long list of like, okay, who am I going to do next? Who am I going to pick? And then I have to dedicate months to making this cosplay.
Yeah.
But it depends on the complexity too. Like I handmade my Keaton cosplay I wore for my panel last year, and
Oh,
that was just like so simple, right? It's just like
yeah.
the top, and then like I had some ears and tail. I've done fursuit making, so it was pretty simple for me. I think I put that whole cosplay together in like 2 weeks,
Oh my
which is pretty fast
god.
for me.
Again, doesn't show. I will say we do have to finish up about now because I forgot that we
Yeah.
actually need to set up the next panel in this room. There
Yes,
is
please go set up the
so
next panel. Have a good time at the next panel. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for my panelists and hosts for having me.
thank you
Being
so
at
much for the
Of
panel. It
course,
was a
being at
lot of
EmblemCon
fun.
is always such a delight. I was so happy to come back next year. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the audience for joining me and asking questions. Oh, this is so much
Yeah,
fun.
there's
Thank you.
like just as we're leaving, people have a bunch of questions. I don't know if you're around on Discord, if they could ask you on Discord any of their questions.
I am. Yes, please come ask me on Discord. I will post something in the chat. I don't know. I'm allowed to like. I think I saw a pink
Yeah,
puppy
we have
pudgy cute.
and we have
I
a
can't share like my
cosplay
Instagram
chat.
or whatever. You can find me on Discord. I'll post. You can find me on Instagram. Whatever. I'll be
Yeah.
around. I'll be around for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, we technically went over, but we also started late. So thank you
Yes, no
so
worries. Yeah.
much. It was a lot of fun,
But
and
yeah.
thank you
Set up the
everyone
next
for
panel. Have
watching.
fun. Enjoy the rest of your con.
We'll be back in a few minutes with a cover concert of a bunch
Ooh,
of songs
don't miss
from
that.
the
That sounds
series.
cool. Don't go anywhere, y'all.
Right, thank you.